Welcome to Central News for Thursday, the 28th of November. I'm Hilary Entwistle. This year's Christmas at the Park in Hamilton is being held on Sunday, the 15th, from 3 to 8 p.m. The event will be offering free activities for children as well as great stage entertainment for people of all ages. All proceeds from the event will be going to Rainbow Place this year, a Waikato-based organisation which supports children and their families through severe illness, accidents and sudden death. Event organiser Bridget Sturham says the event is already looking to be bigger and better than last year and is a great way to warm up to Christmas.
So Suburbs Community Sports Club host the event, and it's some of our committee members from the sports club, and then just some people from the general public have become interested in the event too and offered to help. As well, we've been joined by some fantastic sponsors on our committee. A major one, Fairview Mazda. Lindsay Coleman from Fairview Mazda has been a fantastic help to us, as well as New World Te Rapa. And then there's actually been people from the community who have not actually joined the committee, but who have been keen to help out just by way of selling raffle tickets and just doing odd jobs where we need help with things. So it's been a great response this year with helpers.
National Buddy Day was held across the country on the 15th of November to help show support of children and ensuring they are happy and healthy. Buddy Day is New Zealand's only community event aimed at raising awareness and starting conversations about the role every adult plays in preventing child abuse. National Buddy Day manager Janine Evans says that child abuse directly affects around a quarter of our population, which is around 1 million people currently suffering or living with the long-term effects of past abuse. Buddy Day aims to raise awareness of these issues and get people talking about them openly.
Buddy Day is important to our nation because we have a shocking record of child abuse and we need to start conversations to start changing things.
Now for our region's weather. Friday for you, Hamilton will have morning showers, then she becomes fine. Your expected high is 22 and an overnight low of 14. Tauranga, the same for you, morning showers and then becoming fine. Your expected high is 24 and an overnight low of 16. Just ahead, Project 270. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. Another 1,000 vulnerable Waikato families will benefit from free home insulation thanks to the Warm Our Whare initiative run by Waikato DHB's Māori Health Service, Te Puna o Rangā. As part of the initiative, there has already been insulation in 505 Waikato homes. Harriet went to learn more about the project.
Project 270 is a District Health Board initiative which is led by Māori Health, and really Project 270 is looking at how we can mitigate the impacts of child poverty or family whānau poverty within the Waikato District. And it comprises of three parts. The first is basically providing free home insulation in the floor and the ceilings to high needs families as long as they meet specific criteria. And the idea there is to make sure that they have warm, dry, healthy homes, which has a direct impact on the health and well-being of the people that live in that home. The second part to Project 270 is to work with KidsCan. And KidsCan is a charitable organisation that provides food in schools for hungry children and also provides jackets and shoes so that they're warm through the cold winter period, and obviously providing healthy food and regular meals as well as jackets and shoes and making sure that kids and their families are warm in their homes has a direct health outcome which is positive. And then the final part of Project 270 is to look at our low income schools, in particular our deciles 1, 2 and 3 schools, and make sure that they have access to GP services or nursing services, because we want to make sure that I guess those schools that service high needs, low income families actually do have support services wrapped around them, because that's where the need is.
And where did the name Project 270 come from?
Yeah, it's a little play on words. Project 270 is called 270 because there's 270,000 children that live within Aotearoa New Zealand that live below the poverty line. As a Māori health unit, obviously we're very much focused on improving the health and well-being of Māori. And the data shows that if you're a Māori child, there's a 1 in 3 chance that you live in poverty. And the data also shows, however, that there are other groups that have poverty. It covers the full spectrum of ethnic groups. So if you're a Pacific Island child, you've probably got a 1 in 4 chance of living below the poverty line in this country. And even 1 in 6 Pākehā children live below the poverty line as well. So this initiative, while it's led by a Māori Health Unit, and while we do have a very real focus on improving the health and wellbeing of Māori, we also work with other disadvantaged groups right across the board as well.
What are the criteria for an assessment?
For the free home insulation, basically you have to meet a number of different criteria. The first is if you're living in a house, it has to be built before 2000, and that's because the more modern homes tend to be insulated, so we're looking at homes which are built before 2000. The initiative is run out in a geographical area, so it's in Hamilton or 30 k's out from Hamilton, or out through South Waikato, so places like Raglan, Tokoro, Te and Taumarunui in the mix. And the other thing is that you have to be high needs, so you have to have a community services card. You can own the home and still apply, but a lot of our low-income families don't own their own home, so they rent, and that's okay. You can apply if you're a tenant. You just need to have the approval from your landlord to do so. So those are some of the major criteria. We're also focusing in on families that have children 17 years and under, because obviously we get a greater bang for buck, and I guess if you're young, you're vulnerable because of your age. And also more recently, we're starting to target people who are 65 years plus, so our older population, or for what we'd call in Māori, kaumātua.
Why do you believe that this is such an important thing for people to have well-insulated homes?
Well, I think for us, there's a clear understanding, and it's well evidenced at an international level, that if you live in a healthy, warm, dry home, you're going to have good health. And if you live in a cold, damp, unhealthy home, you're going to have poor health. And there's data which shows that as the temperature drops through the winter periods, hospital admissions spike, so they increase. So there's a direct correlation between, I guess, living in a cold, damp, unhealthy environment and hospitalisation. And obviously the hospitals across the country are very pressured. We have large volumes of people coming in, so we need to reduce down the numbers of people which are coming into our hospitals. It's better in terms of health outcomes for the families, our community, and it's also better in terms of being more cost effective.
And how do you actually decide who goes on to receive this free insulation?
Oh, it really is driven by the criteria, and that criteria that I've just mentioned kind of is targeted at high needs. Once the application is received, an insulation company will come out within a couple of weeks and actually assess the home, make sure that the applicant does meet the criteria and that the house is able to be insulated in the floor and the ceiling. Once that assessment's undertaken and they've been approved, they will get the insulation shortly thereafter put into their home for free.
How are these projects being funded?
Well, different components are funded in different ways. So the free home insulation is funded by ECA, which is a government department, which through the Warm Up New Zealand initiative is seeking to provide insulation to high needs families, and they work in conjunction with insulation companies. So we've partnered with those insulation companies. They receive funding from ECA, and they also have to source third-party funding as well to deliver the initiative. What we do is we connect them in with high needs communities and use our networks to generate leads and applications for that insulation to occur. So funded through ECA, the home insulation side of things. If you're looking at funding to put food into schools, we're actually sourcing that again from third parties. So we go to different funders and we actually do drives to see if we can secure funding, and then we channel that through to Kids Camp. And so that's another way that we can do that. And we do that within our own existing resource as a Māori Health Unit. And then the third component, which is GPs or nurses in schools, that's actually funded through the DHB and the Ministry of Health as part of normal service delivery.
And how can viewers find out more or perhaps apply themselves?
Or I guess if they're looking at the free home insulation side of things, the best thing to do is actually go to our website. So the Waikato District Health Board, Māori Health website, and you'll have the application form, which is actually online, and people can access it that way. And I guess the other way is simply to call our unit. And we do have a staff member which is dedicated to take those queries.
Find out more by going to Te Puna o Ranga's website. Just ahead, horticulture innovation. Welcome back. The Newnham Park Horticultural Innovation Centre in Te Puna houses 5 local Export Award-winning independent companies. Priority One has supported the development of this boost to the local economy.
Certainly working alongside, and that's the Newnham Park Horticultural Innovation Centre, co-founded by Steve Saunders and Rob Jeffrey, and it houses, I think, 9 businesses there, all Export Award winners, generating around about 100 million in export revenues. And I think total employee count out there must be between 80 and 100 now, expanding rapidly with Heilala Vanilla's production site moving on to the campus. And I know they have plans for substantial growth in the future, and Priority One will work alongside them around planning for that, and certainly submitting in support to Council for plan changes.
What role will Priority One continue to have with development viability and housing affordability?
Yeah, so there's a couple of streams there. One is around industrial land here. So we're well provisioned as far as Tauranga City goes for industrial land, and it's a good mix of land for heavy buildings as well as lighter buildings. So we're seeing, for instance, the Tauriko Business Estate is really growing hand over fist now, and today they will announce the move of a big company from Wellington into that. So that'll be pretty exciting, and that's on top of, for instance, Jenkins Group, who have relocated out of Auckland and established there. So a lot of interest in that site. There's work continuing around the development of the Rangiuru Business Park east of Te Puke, and that's a continuing work stream to see how that viability can be built. In terms of housing affordability, there's an initiative here between councils and the development community, and Priority One is a participant in that, and they actually have their meetings here, and that's about understanding those touch points that will incentivise and enable affordable housing to be progressed in Tauranga, given the issue, recognising the issues in Auckland, for instance, not wanting to repeat that here. So there are some plans in place around assisting that sort of development to happen with a really strong mindset from councils that we need that to happen. So they're very aware of it.
Bay of Connections is a big project, so how will Priority One continue to be a part of that?
Yes, so Bay of Connections, of course, is the Bay of Plenty-wide economic development strategy, and we work in partnership with the economic development agencies in the Eastern Bay of Plenty, such as the Kawerau Enterprise Agency, as well as Rotorua. And it's been really strong in terms of leveraging the strengths, the collective strengths of the region, understanding the infrastructure we have here around the port and what that means for, say, the forestry sector. So this year we've seen real progression in terms of the Māori Economic Development Strategy, which will be extremely exciting when that's released. There's the freight logistics strategy, which has been extremely successful in advocating for high productivity motor vehicles, those heavy trucks that we need to reduce the number of trucks on the road, but also facilitate movement of goods to the port. As well as really engendering strong support from industry around the importance of freight logistics, which after all is our biggest industry sector in the Bay of Plenty at around about $400 million, a big contributor to our economy here. So a number of exciting initiatives to come, and we are absolutely committed, and the board of Priority One absolutely committed to being a partner of Bay of Connections.
How will Priority One continue to encourage innovation and entrepreneurship over the next 3 years?
We will continue to grow our co-working space, Ignition, to meet a growing need from entrepreneurs who want to be co-located with like-minded people. We will work closely with Enterprise Angels with their pre-incubation project, and we are committed to co-funding with them the rollout of that program for very early stage businesses or people considering moving into establishing businesses here. And of course, the tertiary partnership here with the Polytech, University of Waikato and Awanuirangi, and ultimately we hope Waiariki will be instrumental in really fostering innovation and new thinking, new businesses here. So absolutely committed to seeing their vision delivered, in particular a campus based in Tauranga.
Just ahead, the list of shame makes for grim reading. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. The SPCA's annual list of shame was released early in November and revealed shocking cases in which animals had been severely mistreated in New Zealand. The SPCA says there are too many cases like these and they're calling for change.
I think the SPCA spends a lot of time putting out positive stories around the work that we do, and that's ideal for us because the public realises that we're making a big difference in animal welfare. I think the purpose of the list of shame is to ensure that the grim reality is never forgotten and to highlight that we are very active in animal welfare enforcement and to make sure that people are aware of the sort of cases that are occurring in New Zealand.
So that list is pretty grim. Is that a very grim aspect of your job?
This job is done by so many people around the country because it's a positive, fabulous job to do, not because it's a grim job. We make a difference every single day. Yeah, there are some grim aspects and there's no point hiding those, but I would far rather be a person who can make a difference in animal welfare in our communities than someone who doesn't have the confidence or the competence to do that. It is a national list, it's not just a Waikato list. And actually Waikato doesn't factor in here an awful lot. We're lucky that we generally live in communities of people who love their animals.
And how is the SPCA funded?
SPCA is funded by our communities, and we are constantly running around in small circles looking to broaden our funding. SPCA receives a small amount of money through government funding for our inspectorate work, but the rest of our work, which is probably 95%, we have to fund through promotions, sponsorships, grant applications, all sorts of fundraising schemes.
How much are these cases costing the SPCA?
That's a really difficult one to answer because we have 47 SPCA centres around New Zealand, and each of those centres takes their own prosecution cases. They could range from, and I think the difficulty is really we're looking in the thousands as a minimum because of the costs of putting the case together, caring for animals, and the legal costs, which tend to be the biggest part of it. We've had cases that have made this list in New Zealand in the past year that have gone over $100,000. So it's a huge breadth of range, but it's also hard to quantify.
How is the SPCA working to advance the welfare of animals every day?
The SPCA nationally has three fundamental activities. The first one is enforcement. So we have inspectors around the country, currently around 98 of them, who are working every single day in the community responding to animal welfare complaints. The other two parts of how we work in welfare are education and animal sheltering. So we are constantly educating the public about good animal welfare and about what to expect from their relationship with animals and how to make it better. And of course we provide shelter. I think we nationally provide shelter to around 60,000 animals a year. So it's an enormous amount. In the Waikato alone, we shelter around 3,300 animals a year. So every day we are in many ways working on animal welfare.
So your National Paws Appeal Week was early in November. Can you tell us a little bit more about what that was about and how it went?
So the National Paws Appeal Week is our major fundraiser, if you like, our national fundraiser for the year. It's part of our larger fundraising calendar. This year, 2013, was probably the most challenging year for us as far as that appeal went, because particularly in this region, finding the people to hit the streets to get the money in is always a challenge, and it seems to become more challenging each year. We were lucky. The Waikato region communities gave us $32,000, which is a fabulous amount. And I think nationally we don't have the figures yet, but it's always a good, successful week. It is part of our bigger fundraising picture.
And can you tell us a bit more about your adoption process here at the SPCA?
Okay, so the biggest thing that we need to focus on for adopting any animal is matching an animal to a family or an individual who wants to take that animal home. So that's the first part of our process. We find out what their expectations are and we see if we have an animal that matches those expectations. If we don't, we talk about other options and we put those families together with animals and see how they fit. It's a real progress in that we start with their expectations can be quite different to what they end up going home with, and I'm a big believer that cats choose people. We have communal catteries and we have cat runs that people can walk into and meet the animals, because you should never choose a cat by the way it looks. You should let a cat choose you. And dogs are a big commitment. We need to make sure that the dog's going home to a household that it's going to stay in and that it's going to be happy and stable in, and that people are going to love that dog because it suits their personalities.
And what keeps you going in this role?
Oh, look, I've been with the SPCA for coming up 9 years and I love my job. I think the biggest thing, people always ask, is it a difficult job? It isn't, because you're making a difference every day. Everything that we do makes a difference to the lives of animals. So every single day, kittens are walking in the gate and we're changing their lives.
And finally, how can people help or support the SPCA?
We survive on community donations and on volunteer hours. So nationally, we only have about 1,000 people employed by the SPCA, but we would have probably 10,000 volunteers. We can't survive without those people, and we can't survive without funding from our communities.
For more information on how you can adopt or help the SPCA, visit waikatospca.org.nz. That is the news for this Thursday. If you have a story or a community event you want to share with us, you can email us on news@tvcentral.co.nz or like us on Facebook and message us there. Tomorrow night we will look at what's happening for Christmas in Park in Hamilton and why people were carrying around cardboard cutouts. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.